Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Sauce. I got crushed last night. I lost a ton of money, and I knew it too. Yesterday morning, I was like, yo, make sure you bet light tonight. It's the first night back from the All-Star break. Shit is unpredictable. The All-Star break always shakes things up. Be careful. Next thing you know, a few hours go by and I'm pumped about the slate and I'm laying big money down. Just stupidity on my part. I'm gonna do my best to shake it off, put it in the past, and move on to tonight. We got 8 NBA games on tonight, so let's get into it.
Welcome to The Sauce. The Sauce. Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
First up, New York Knicks on the road in DC to play the Wizards. It's a 7 p.m. tip time. Line open Washington -2.5. Total opens at 225.5. Line does not stay in 2.5 for long. In fact, check this out. Public is heavy on the Knicks and they move it 4.5 points. We're actually now looking at Wizards +2. Does that mean that Bradley Beal isn't going to play tonight? We'll have to wait and see. He's currently listed as questionable. Let's take a quick look at our spreadsheet. According to the model, the line for this game should be Washington -0.39. So we're looking at about a 2.5 point lean on the Wizards now after the line movement. So Mitchell Robinson might be returning to the lineup for the Knicks tonight. Obviously, that would be huge. He's been out for over a month. 5 weeks to be exact. Oddly enough, he actually got hurt in the Wizards game. It's really tough to handicap a Knicks game if you don't know Mitchell Robinson's status because he's the focal point of the Knicks defense and he changes the entire scope of what the Knicks do defensively. Before Mitchell Robinson got hurt, the Knicks had a top 5 perimeter defense. It's a lot easier to put pressure on 3-point shooters when you know Mitchell Robinson's protecting the basket behind you. Since Mitchell Robinson went down, the Knicks have become vulnerable to the outside shot. Now, the Knicks defense hasn't completely gone to shit. It's still okay. I mean, over the last month without Robinson, they're ranked, I think, 18th in efficiency. So it's not like their defense is awful without him. It's just a lot better. And more importantly, for the handicap, it's a lot different when Mitchell Robinson plays. If he doesn't play, this red-hot Wizards offense should have no problem scoring points on the Knicks. If you take a look at the Wizards shot frequency over the last month, 21st at the rim. They're not attacking the basket much. They take a ton of mid-range shots, 7th from mid-range, 14th from 3. So they do most of their damage from outside the paint. If Mitchell Robinson is fully healthy and ready to go, and the Knicks defense from early December shows up, then I'm all over the Knicks. I actually love the way the Knicks match up with this Wizards team. It's just, there's too many ifs in that sentence. There's just too many moving parts right now. Even if Mitchell Robinson plays, I doubt he's back to mid-season form right away. He's been out for 5 weeks, like I said. So here's what I'm gonna do for this game. If Bradley Beal plays for Washington, I'm going to take the Wizards. If he doesn't play, I'm probably going to pass. But if he plays, I actually like the Wizards a decent amount. So give me Washington +2 if Beal plays next game. Cleveland on the road in Atlanta, 7:30 p.m. tip time. Line opens up Hawks -3.5. Don't worry, it doesn't stay there. And the total for this game is sitting at 225.5. Everyone's on Cleveland here. It may be early, but as of right now, Cleveland's looking like the most public play on the board. Line drops all the way down to Hawks -1, but then it jumps up another half point. We're looking at Hawks -1.5. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, the line for this game should be the Hawks -1.0, so really not much of a lean there at all. The question we need to ask ourselves here is, do we think the Cleveland Cavs are still hot? Because if you remember, before the break, they were red hot. But then they go into Philly and take a tough loss to the Sixers right before the break, and then they open up after the break with a home loss to Denver. Obviously, the Cavs are on a back-to-back here. They played a game in Cleveland last night, then hopped on a late flight to Atlanta, but I'm really not worried about that because number one, Cleveland's 6-4 against the spread on 0 days rest this year, so they've done well in this spot. And number two, we're fresh off the All-Star break. I mean, these guys should be pretty well rested. If this game was being played before the All-Star break, I'd be blindly betting Cleveland without hesitating. Shit, I'd probably even lay 4 or 5 points because the Atlanta Hawks were struggling. Hawks definitely one of the teams that needed this All-Star break badly. They were just 2-4 in their last 6 before the break. And the outside shooting, which hasn't really been there all year, has gotten even worse. I mean, it's completely disappeared for the Hawks. In the last month, check this out. The Hawks are 28th in 3-point frequency, 22nd in 3-point efficiency. So they're barely taking any threes, but when they do take them, they don't make them. How exactly do the Hawks plan on scoring points tonight then? Because Cleveland has been #1 in defensive efficiency at the rim forever, for pretty much the whole season. That's what Cleveland does on defense. They protect the basket. Check these numbers out. This is in the last month, right? So Cleveland's first in the NBA, allowing just 58.2% field goals under the basket. The next closest is Charlotte at 62.6%, then the Knicks 62.9%, and then the Bucks at 63.2%. Look at those numbers. The Cavs' interior defense has been head and shoulders better than anyone else in the NBA. They are by far the best at protecting the basket. So you got Atlanta that doesn't have any outside shooting playing against a Cleveland team that doesn't let you score at the rim. That's really a terrible recipe. John Collins is also out for the Hawks, but let's not forget the Hawks just added Sadiq Bey from the Pistons. That's an outside shooter, and not only is he playing, he's actually in the starting lineup in place of John Collins. I hate that I'm siding with the heavy public here. This sucks. I like Cleveland, but I really don't want to put too much on it because it's such a square play. So I'll take Cleveland plus 1.5, but it might not make the final ticket. Next game. Miami on the road in Milwaukee. This is a 7:30 p.m. tip. Total's down at 217.5, lower total here. This line opens up Milwaukee -1. Public is heavy on Miami on this one. Cavs might be the most public bet on the board, but Miami's a close second. Line drops from Milwaukee -2. We're now down to 1.5. Let's take a look at our spreadsheet, and according to the model, check this out. The line for this game should be Milwaukee -15.99. Obviously, our spreadsheet doesn't know that Giannis isn't going to play. I'm actually going to skip this one. It's hard enough to handicap these games fresh off the All-Star break because it always jumbles everything up. All the patterns are almost erased. But now add on the fact that Giannis is out. Chris Middleton's starting his first game since like November. Tyler Hero's back for Miami. There's just too many moving parts here. Should be a good game, but I'm going to skip it. Next game. Brooklyn on the road in Chicago, 8 p.m. tip. Totals at 225, and this line opens up Bulls -1. Public's pretty split even on this one. Sharp money slightly leaning towards the Bulls. Line moves up to 1.5, and now we're looking at Chicago -2. Let's take a quick look at our spreadsheet. According to the model, the line for this game should be Chicago -3.77. So we're looking about a 1.5, 2-point lean on the Bulls. If there's one team in the NBA that desperately needed the All-Star break, it's the Chicago Bulls. Bulls went into the break dropping 6 consecutive losses. And with the Wizards getting hot and going on a nice little streak before the break, the Bulls in the last week and a half before the break went from 2 games up on the Wizards to 2.5 games back. So Chicago is actually 2.5 games out of the 10 seed of the play-in right now. But good news for the Bulls. Like I keep saying, the All-Star break always shakes things up, and Chicago opens up with back-to-back home games after the break. The second one is Washington, so they can grab one of those games back right away. And the first one's a very winnable game tonight against Brooklyn. My opinion on Brooklyn right now is the public kind of went from dramatically undervaluing the Nets to, I think they're kind of overvalued right now. Kyrie gets traded, Durant gets traded, and the public's kind of like, wow, the Nets are going to be terrible. But then they win a few games. They almost beat the Suns. They went into the All-Star break 3-4 in their last 7 after the trades. And now people are like, yo, this Nets team's got pieces. They're pretty good. And they're not wrong. There are some pieces on that team. But top to bottom, I'm still going to take this Bulls roster. And this seems like the perfect buy low, sell high spot. I mean, you got the Bulls chaos right now in Chicago, 6 straight losses. Is the season over? Absolute desperation mode, last chance, all that. And then you got the Nets kind of riding a little high right now. They won a few games that people didn't expect them to win. All of a sudden, there's some positivity surrounding the Nets. I think the pissed off, desperate Chicago Bulls are going to bring the Nets down to earth tonight. Definitely on Chicago here. Give me Chicago -2. Probably going to be top bets. Possible bet of the day here. Love the Bulls tonight. I'm also going to take Brooklyn team total under 110.5. You can get that at -108 on pretty much every book right now. Charlotte on the road in Minnesota. This is an 8 p.m. tip. Total set at 243, and the line for this one opened up Minnesota -8. Public is pretty split even here, but sharps definitely seem to be on Charlotte early. In fact, line moves a full 2 points. We're now looking at Minnesota -6. Let's take a look at our spreadsheet. According to the model, the line for this game should be Minnesota -4.53. So we're looking at about a 1.5 lean on the Hornets. I'm actually going to skip this game. Minnesota is definitely a team I plan on betting down the stretch, and I like them coming out of the All-Star break. But right here in this spot, the line dropped 2 points, and Charlotte is actually on a 2-game winning streak. They actually look pretty decent before the break. So I'm just going to skip this one, see how these teams look coming out of the break. Next game, Rockets on the road at Golden State. This is a 10 p.m. start. Line opened up Golden State -9.5. Total is set at 232.5. Not much data in for this one yet, but it's looking like the public slightly leaning Golden State. Sharp money all over Golden State early. Line moves from 9.5 up to 10.5. Let's take a quick look at our spreadsheet. According to the model, the line for this game should be Golden State plus 0.62. So a huge lean on the Houston Rockets. Obviously, the spreadsheet doesn't know that Jalen Green isn't playing for the Rockets. Obviously, this is a back-to-back for Golden State. They just played last night, took a tough loss to the Lakers. Ugly loss, actually. They got the shit beat out of them. I'm not too worried about that. Golden State's 6-6 against the spread on 0 days rest this year. But more importantly, Steve Kerr didn't really play anybody extended minutes. Actually, Ty Jerome led the team with 30 minutes. Draymond Green played 25 minutes. Jordan Poole played like 28 minutes, something like that. So fresh off the break, these guys really shouldn't be that rundown. Warriors also have the added bonus of playing the Houston Rockets without Jalen Green, who is their leading scorer. Get this, the second leading scorer on Houston is Jabari Smith Jr., averaging just 13.8 points a game. The second leading scorer on the team, 13.8 points a game. So I really don't know where the points are going to come from the Rockets tonight. Golden State's defense hasn't exactly been great. In fact, it's actually been kind of bad. I think it's like 24th in efficiency over the last month, but they always play much better defense at home. Books have this number at 10 for a reason. It looks like they're expecting a blowout, and I agree with them. So I'm going to lay the number, even though it's huge. Give me Golden State minus 10 next game. Oklahoma City on the road in Phoenix. We got a 10 p.m. tip time here. Total set at 230.5. Line opens up Phoenix minus 8.5. Public definitely leaning OKC. Sharp money definitely leaning OKC, and the books react to it. Line moves a 1.5. We're now looking at Phoenix minus 7. Let's take a quick look at our spreadsheet. According to the model, the line for this game should be Phoenix minus 13.75. So we're talking about a 6.5, 7-point lean on the Suns. Oklahoma City obviously on a back-to-back. They just played in Utah last night, hopped on a late flight to Phoenix right after. But just like Golden State, I'm not worried about it. OKC is 4-3 against the spread on 0 days rest on the season. They've got a good, young, healthy team. Also, we're coming off a full week break, so I really don't see the back-to-back being much of a factor here for OKC. Oklahoma City is 19-10 against the spread coming off a loss this season. That's first in the NBA by far. So once we see that, it's like, yo, we gotta bet Oklahoma City, right? Hold up just a second, because what do we know about this Phoenix Suns team? One, they play great defense, right? But two, they are just the kings of the mid-range shot. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, even Ayton takes mid-range shots. They take more mid-range shots, first in frequency of mid-range shots than any other team in the NBA. Want to take a look at Oklahoma City's defensive efficiency numbers by shot zone over the last 30 days? Check this out. 14th defending the rim, 22nd defending the three-point shot, 28th in the NBA against the mid-range shot. This is one of the worst defenses in the NBA against the mid-range shot. Originally, I was leaning Oklahoma City, but the more this line drops and the more I look at these numbers, I'm definitely on the Suns here. I don't know if it makes the top bets, but it's got a shot. I'm going to lay the points. Give me Phoenix minus 7 next game. Sacramento Kings on the road in LA to play the Clips. This is a 10:30 p.m. tip. Total's at 236? Yes, 236. And the line opens up Clippers minus 7. Line drops from 7 down to 6.5, despite the public being pretty significantly on the Clippers. Definitely concerning, looking like some reverse line movement here. Let's take a look at our spreadsheet. According to the model, the line for this game should be Clips minus 13.73. So we're talking about a 7-point lean on the Clippers. Sacramento, yet another team on a back-to-back tonight. They played in Sacramento last night. Now they're in LA. Not the craziest travel. Also, the Kings 5-4 against the spread on 0 days rest on the season. So just like the other ones, back-to-back not a factor for me tonight. This is a huge game in the Western Conference. This is the 3 seed versus the 4 seed. Clips currently in the 4 seed, 1.5 games back of the Kings, and they went into the All-Star break red hot. Clippers were 10-4 in their last 14 games before the break. 10-2 in their last 12 games where both Kawhi and Paul George are on the court. I've said this a number of times. I very rarely, almost never, fade the Clippers when both Kawhi Leonard and Paul George play, and Norman Powell's in the lineup too. He missed the game before the break. So I just don't do it. I think that Clippers team, when fully healthy, is on the same level of Boston and Milwaukee. I know a lot of people call me crazy for that, but I truly believe it. I feel like I may be walking into a bit of a trap here, but I don't care. I'm sticking to my guns and I am boarding the Clip ship. All aboard. Everyone ride the Clippers with me. I'm laying the points. Give me LA minus 6.5. Got a prop bet for you. We're headed back to the Bulls-Nets game. Let's talk Mikal Bridges scoring. February was a great month for Bridges. He's averaging 24 points a game even in the month of February, and he's gone over this 19.5 point total mark in 6 of his 7 games this month. But he's about to play the Bulls in Chicago, and nobody's really talking about it because the Bulls have been losing so many games. But Chicago defensively, I mean, defensive efficiency over the last 30 days, the Bulls are 3rd, up there with Milwaukee, Dallas, Boston, best teams in the league. This is a top 3 defense right now. And to make matters even worse, the Bulls are just excellent on the perimeter in the last 30 days. They're 1st in the NBA. Opponents are shooting just 32.1% from 3 against the Bulls over the last 30 days. Best in the league. Bulls are also 1st in the NBA in field goal percentage allowed to opposing small forwards. Now, Technically, I believe Bridges is playing the 2 tonight, not the 3, but still, Bulls play elite defense on the perimeter, specifically against wing. We're getting this one at plus money. I'm taking Mikal Bridges under 19.5 points. It's actually at plus 115 on DraftKings right now as I'm recording. If anything changes with these bets, I will let you know on Twitter, so give me a follow there if you're interested. Also, if you want the final ticket, which has the top bets, bet of the day, parlay of the day, if you're interested in that, head over to KyleKirms.com or download the Sauce Network app. NBA Friday night, good Lord, I hope it's better than NBA Thursday night because I got rocked last night, like I said. Let's put it in the past. Let's have ourselves a good one. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you on Twitter.